By Sue Webber.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. I'd like to remind you in the Chamber that I am a board member of Moving On Inverclyde, a local addiction service. Presiding Officer, not one MSP wants this drugs crisis to continue, and the Tories have been talking about that illegal right to recovery proposal. And quite rightly, the Cabinet Secretary has indicated today, but also on multiple occasions beforehand, that the Scottish Government will look at any proposals that come forward. That is right and proper. Asking a government to sign up to something that is not yet written isn't any way to do policy, and the Tories know that. Notwithstanding, Presiding Officer, the Scottish Government has never ruled out the need for further legislation and will continue they will consider the detail of the draft Right to Recovery Bill once it is made available. However, through their proposal, the Conservatives are asking the Scottish Government to do something, and some things actually are already happening. First of all, getting people into the treatment and recovery that is right for them at the right time is at the very core of the Scottish Government's national mission to save and improve lives. And most of the issues proposed for legislation are addressed by the recommendations of the Residential Rehabilitation Working Group that this Government has already accepted. The Scottish Government is already investing in increasing the capacity of residential rehab nationally, developing good practice on referral pathways and exploring options for standardisation and national commissioning of services. And as the Chamber knows, the Scottish Government is providing additional funding of £250 million over the next 5 years. This funding commitment emphasises the importance placed on tackling this public health emergency. There are a range of measures and investments being made, but certainly one that I particularly welcome is the moving to a 5-year funding cycle for eligible third sector and grassroots organisations that are at the forefront of saving lives. This is a decision this particular decision is something I've spoken about before in the Chamber, and as well as also when I did meet with the Minister earlier on this year. I know that this particular decision will certainly save lives across the country. Third sector organisations provide a range of services that are not always available via public services, and they can adopt a different approach also. We must empower more people to seek support, to make that support more consistent, flexible and also effective and much faster, and help services stick with the people that they support. Additional investment will also be used to support a range of community-based interventions, including primary prevention and also an expansion of residential rehabilitation. Ultimately, the guarantee of funding to third sector partners will provide the surety and also the ability for them to plan and deliver the services going forward, instead of always actually having one eye on funding bids. Presiding Officer, this Parliament has heard time and time again about the need for bold actions and bold decisions to deal with the drugs death crisis. It's a national emergency, and this is something that we can all agree on. We need to be bold. We need to push ourselves into thinking about possible solutions and policies to actually help our fellow citizens, our constituents, no matter how difficult that will actually be. 33 people in Inverclyde died last year. 1,339 people died in Scotland. Whether we want to admit it or not, the war on drugs cannot be won the way we have been doing it. Now, I'm pleased with the large drug hauls that do take place across my constituency and across the country. However, that doesn't stop individuals obtaining drugs. And learning lessons from elsewhere is also something that we must do. We are failing our constituents if we don't. Presiding Officer, the quote, "insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting differing results," is something that this Parliament, this Chamber, has certainly begun to adopt, that we will not follow that. So to conclude with, Presiding Officer, I do back the amendment in the name of the Minister, and I certainly will not be voting for the motion in front of us from the Conservatives. Thank you.
Thank you.